Felix Rohatyn has spent most of his career advising companies and municipalities, helping them grow as well as get out of crises. Mr. Rohatyn is the former U.S. ambassador to France. He helped lead the rescue of New York City during its budget crisis in the 1970s. And now the star banker returns to the Wall Street firm Lazard that he helped build for nearly 50 years. He's returning as a special advisor to the new CEO. Felix Rohatyn, Ambassador Rohatyn, joins us now. Ambassador Rohatyn, good to have you with us. Thanks so much for coming in. We get to your whole new job profile in just a moment, but I know you want to talk about what's going on with infrastructure. It's been said that President Obama is going to be talking about new federal funding for high-speed rail links in the United States. What do you think about this plan? Is this the kind of infrastructure we need?
Oh, absolutely. In fact, we need any kind, not any kind, but we need across-the-board infrastructure. We need investment instead of spending, and infrastructure is money, is a place to bring investment, long-term investment, and at the same time create employment. And if there are two things we need in this country today, it's jobs and it's investment and employment. And we're way behind. There is a group of civil engineers that every 2 years, I think, make some kind of a balance sheet of the infrastructure of the various parts of the country. And the last I saw, they said that over the next 5 years, we would need a minimum of $2 trillion in order to get our infrastructure planning roughly into the balance of what the country needs. Well, that's I don't know, 10 times, 15, 20 times what we're doing.
Why do you believe that the administration has taken this long to put infrastructure front and center?
I've always asked myself that, because it always seemed to me so logical. If you can create employment and if you can create investment, you have to be pretty close to the solution of most of your economic problems. But it is first of all, I think it's because any relationship to the government is something most people here don't like. And infrastructure historically was the result of government action, because it required a lot of money, etc. And so take the Western railroads when they were built. And it was Abraham Lincoln in the middle of the Civil War who financed the investment in that. But that was subject to a lot of corruption. That was subject to, but it was still subject to the government, because it was Lincoln in the middle of the Civil War who financed these railroads. So it always seemed to me, when I go to France quite often, as you know, in Paris, you go to any railroad station and you see next to each other about 6, 7, 8 bullet trains. And in front of every one of them, there is a sign that says where this train is going. And you see Paris-London, 3.5 hours. You see Paris-Lyon, 2.5 hours. You see all of these across the board, and these wonderful, wonderful trains, and that just get you there. And as a result, the air traffic has been reduced, and the air conditioning, not the air conditioning, but the
air congestion.
The air congestion has dropped by 30%, I think. So there is so much argument for the practicality of it, but it's difficult. I mean, the president, I think, today said something about $8 billion for, I don't know, it's thought about some in Florida, I think.
In Florida, as well as the Midwest and California.
That's right. But, the $8 billion in high-speed rail doesn't get you very far. And that's not a pun,
Let's move from infrastructure, which I know you're focused on, and get your thoughts on what is going on in Washington in regulatory reform and Paul Volcker's suggestion of perhaps returning to some kind of Glass-Steagall separation of commercial and retail operations in banks. You favor that?
Well, I favor almost anything Paul Volcker recommends, because I think he is a remarkable man. He's a great financial person. He's a great person, and he really knows this stuff. And I'm for anything that reduces risk. I am very risk averse. And I think so is Paul, to some extent. So that things that reduce risk, even at a cost of somewhere else, is something that I support. I think there is the great need in financial markets is for stability and transparency. And that is what Paul is recommending. And I support that.
All right. Well, I want to thank you very much, Ambassador Rohatyn, coming in and sharing your thoughts on infrastructure, and also Paul Volcker's suggestion on financial regulatory reform. Look forward to having you back, and you can tell us a little bit more about what you're going to be doing at Lazard. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.